And we're live. Hey YouTube. Although there's normally a counter. And we're live. Hey YouTube. Hey Dava, how's it going? So I'm just going to start off on the wee jam with this hey Ruben. My mini guitar thing from the 70s or 1969, I think I decided it was. So I'm just going to... I've realised that since I got the Puzz Face pedal, I've not actually used this guitar, so I'm going to play this for 5 minutes to start off with, just to play on some sort of riff. Adjust that. Sorry, not turn the mic off. I can't turn that. Nothing off. So now I've got company. I can crack the bucket. That glorious noise of it cracking. Yeah. So you know I didn't drink some of it and fill up the water. Yeah, so this guitar, I got this in a trade for wiring up my pals guitar. It's amp, didn't charge him for it, so I don't feel guilty about it. These are worth quite a lot of money. This is quite a rare one as well, because it's actually got the original knobs, which are awesome. And it's also got the original tremolo bar. I don't think I've ever seen one that's got an original tremolo bar before. It's also got this cool flap thing, kind of like a hood for getting the so you can change the strings. This kind of is on a hinge. I need a... If I cut my fingernails the other days, I can't get my thumbnail in below, but that kind of hinged up. That bit's normally missing as well. So, I'm not really sure what to do with this. If anyone wants to swap it, I think I might put it on eBay. I've had a bit of luck recently with eBay, putting on guitars, and then maybe just like as a buy it now or best offer, and then you kind of forget about them after a week, and then suddenly you just go like, oh, it's sold one last night. It's like, yeah, like I say for ages. Because I'm selling shit's obscure stuff, it's like if you leave it up for a month, there's more chance people are going to see it. At least that's my thinking. Saying that, I actually quite like this. It's the oldest guitar I've got, I suppose. So it's one of those ones which I get with so many guitars, where I just think, oh, did I just keep it as well? It's like, I can't keep keeping them. I've got to sell them out. The reason there's a guitar on my screen, which I hope you can't see, nobody bid on it. It's going tonight. So if any of you get it, I'll know you bid against me. I'll not pay more than 600 quid for it. Yeah, I'll stop playing that. So what I'm going to do is, last night I spent forever trying to design a switch to do something stupid with this guitar. This is the Encore Strat, which in the future on Tuesday, I'm starting up Trade Tuesday again, and this is my first tradie one. So this is it done. When you see the video on Tuesday, you'll see this when it's covered in stickers and not working. And then like Friday or something like that, I kind of fixed it up. So now, get the angle right, see the pickup? I'm quite chuffed with this idea. So that's a hot reel that I got from China at one point, and half of it didn't work. It only ran on one coil. So what I did was I just took off the other coil and stuck it on here. And this is the reverse wind, reverse polarity coil to this pickup, this pickup, this pickup. These three are the same. I had to swap them about. Done a video on it. So basically, when you've got this it's got this three-way switch on it. So if anyone wants to guess how many sounds, apart from David Daba, who I've already told, how many sounds it's got. So it's got a three-way switch on it. So you guess how many sounds. We've got, in the middle, it's a standard strat. It's probably not the best for demoing it through a fuzz pedal. And I've just had this thing to bits 4 times since I built it. First time I built it, the rail pickup was out of phase. And then I put it all back, so stripped it down, put it back in, swapped it round, put it back up. Everything was going fine. And then I realised that the high pass filter only worked on strat mode. It didn't work when you were using this coil because it was bypassing it. So I had to go back in, take the whole thing to bits, back in, swap the wire, move it, come back in. Everything's going great. Playing it for half an hour, using the tone control. This is great. Realised the tone control doesn't work when you're using the rail either. So I had to move another wire in that. So it's like that's why I don't like doing completely new things on other people's guitars. You know, someone says, "Oh, how about you do this wire thing that's never been done before?" It took me all day, just because I've never done. I don't think anyone's ever done this particular switch before. So what the V3 position micro switch does is, in the middle position, it's just a strat. That's fine. Pull it back away, and it does the same as what the Van Halen guitar on the wall behind me does. It puts the rail, or the half a rail, the one rail, in series with the pickup selector. So when you're in this position, you get 5 different versions of humbucker. So this is a single coil on its own. Put the volume up. This is a humbucker. Now the treble works. It's really treble, and the tone works now. You turn the tone and the treble down, you pretty much get nothing because it sucks away both sides of it. Incidentally, I've also worked out, I've only got one Magnum left, David. It's like, it went away awful quickly. It didn't last very long. I suppose I only bought 7 bottles of it, and it's only a 200ml bottle, so I drank a couple in the first. Yeah, okay. I think I'll just have to order more though. Just maybe have a wee drink of that, as you mentioned it. I think I might maybe get a wee bit of a desire for some Benylin. It is damn tasty. Like, I would drink that if it didn't have alcohol in it as well. Yeah, so in the down position, you've got this pickup wired in series with this, making a humbucker. If you come up to position 2, you've now got these 2 wired in parallel with this as a humbucker. So it's a sort of, hey Daniel, so it's a sort of, it's a different sound. It's a humbucker, a triple bucker. Then in the middle, you've got a sort of middle humbucker with these 2. Then there, you've got kind of these 2, and this is a humbucker. Then the neck, you've got this, and this is a humbucker. Yeah, so that's another 5 sounds, so 10. If I put this switch, instead of putting it in the middle, put it up the way, you still get the same 5 strat sounds, but this time they're putting in the new coil in parallel, so you're getting a sort of hum cancelling noiseless pickup type thing going on with all positions. So here's a single coil bridge pickup on its own. Here's it in the humbucker. Here it is in parallel mode. swell mode. I think you can actually hear a bit of a boost because the hot rails are quite a powerful pickup. Yeah, so if you're the reason I like this so much is if you're in the neck position, you've got the neck pickup on and you've got this on, which is kind of giving us the Gilmore thing, you know, the outside two coils, apart from the hum cancelling. You can't normally do in a strat, you can't do it with a normal Gilmore switch. And then you've got all these two and this on. And then you get these two on. And then you get these two and the rail. Yeah, so that's us at 15 sounds. But while I was doing that, I got a bit cheesed off because I spent all last night, a lot of yesterday afternoon, trying to work out this switch that gave 15 sounds. And you get switches. My pal Dava was on here was if you glazed over when I was explaining that there's two different types of switch. So you get like a three-way toggle switch. It's got 6 poles in the back. The normal switches, use them all the time. Well, you get ones that are on, off, on. So in the middle position, they're off and they're not doing anything. They are like, it's a bit, 10 or 20 for a fiver sort of thing. But you also get one called an on switch, which does something when it's in the middle position. And it's a fiver for 1. And that's what I needed to get this to do this. I can get what's in the Van Halen Buckfaster, the Van Halen Iron Brewcaster behind me. I can get that to work, which gives you 12 sounds. But this gives you the 15. So, it can be worked. So, if the Tanner TV is one that you're not going to bid on, nobody's going to bid on because it's going tonight. I've kind of got it on so I don't forget about it. If really annoying, I'm going to wait till the last second to bid. If I don't be bidding on that, I'll know if it's you. It's an Aria Pro. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So while I was messing about, I was quite annoyed that I spent a fiver on a switch when I was thinking of doing the whole guitar up for a fiver sort of thing, so that's that out the window. And then I started looking at I wanted to change the tone pot because on the Van Halen one, I just used the standard tone pot. And although it worked really well, for the high pass filter, keeps the treble, loses all the bass. Well, on that one, I just used the existing tone pot, which is an alpha pot, the A250 or an A500, and it kind of did everything it was going to do between 10 and 8. So I thought I really like to put a volume pot in there instead, like a beta, so it's a B500 that's in, and it works much better. That way, you get much more travel out of it. More so with bassier sounds. It's doing something all the way down. So that's what you want to do for a high pass filter. I learned that. Also, because I was putting in a volume control, I had an idea where phase. Now, normally in a strat, what you do is you put the phase pickup, you put the phase switch on the middle pickup, and that means that when you've got two pickups on, in either positions 2 or 4, it's like you get 2 extra sounds, you get 2 thin phasey sounds. On this one, I put the phase on the rail pickup. So when you're in the humbucker mode, you've now got 5 phased humbucker modes, which are varying degrees of silliness. We've got to the bridge where it's really far away. Take away. Don't throw the drain because there's no treble, there's no bass. Yes, it is. It's exactly the same as the bass I've got. Well, it's badge on it, yes. That's kind of what's drawn me to it a little bit. I don't know. Sometimes these things rock it out. If it's meant for me, it's meant for me. But unfortunately, if I kind of, in some ways, I don't want to get it because if I get it, then that's a keeper. And the guitar combo, which I quite like having. Thinking about it when I saw that, I've actually got other Aria Pros. I've got an Aria Pro Rock device, which is sort of like a P-bass, but a pointy headstock, and it's got 2 P-bass pickups in it, wired together at a funny angle. It looks mental. And a jazz bass pickup. It's a nuts thing. You need to put strings on it. But I've also got an Aria Rock device guitar, which goes with it. So I've got the rock device, bass, and guitar. In the Thor sound, I've got an Aria TSB, which is the Thor sound bass. It's the basic one, which is kind of like a short scale or a 32-inch P bass, a little bit pointier, really nice bass. And I've also got the Thor sound guitar, which kind of goes with it, which, to be honest, it's kind of that guitar. Apart from that one's got a tremolo. I think it looks very, very similar to that. So that would be having the two rock devices, the two Thor sounds, and then if I got that, I'd have the two lasers. I quite like that. And then I've obviously got to start thinking about my Aria ZZB or ZZB bass, which is a kind of explorer. My pal Wayne's actually got one of them called a Blade Runner, the guitar version. Couple of things about that. It's black, which is not my favourite way of doing it, but it's also called a Blade Runner because it's got blade pickups. And it's the same sort of idea as the laser, where they're kind of, in about 1984, 1985, Matsumoto wanted to produce new guitars, but rather than spend lots of money redesigning the range, he just kind of went, oh, take the neck off this body and maybe put different pickups in it, maybe put Floyd Rose in it, and we'll call it a laser series or a mega metal or whatever. And even though it's not really a new guitar, it's basically just a guitar from previous year that they've kind of painted differently, or maybe put a different headstock on it or different pickups. Yeah. I think there's something. I think it's perfect tone. I don't know. What is tone? I just like the sounds that I like, and sometimes it really depends on what it is you're trying to do, doesn't it? I mean, I'm quite happy. I don't think you're getting any perfect tones on this in phased mode, but maybe you're doing it. Also, I would say when you're in the parallel mode as well, you've also got parallel phased. So now you've got really jangly. There's things in there, but I mean it's 25 sounds in this beast, include the push pull pop. It's a bit silly, but it doesn't really. It's quite easy to ignore. That's one of the things I like about this particular, because you can push in the high pass filter and just ignore it, turn it up to full and forget about it. Have the wee toggle switch in the middle, and then just forget about it, and then so you just got a strat. And then if you just imagine that's a master tone with the tone where you want it, so when you start going into the high pass, you start doing things with the muddy tones. And then when you start adding pickups, you start getting uppers and stuff. Hey Alan. Encore had a custom deluxe about 25 years ago. I had one of them. I didn't know it was called a custom deluxe. I had an Encore that I bought in a place called Auchinloch. I think I paid a tenner for it. It had, from memory, it had an awkward shaped headstock that wasn't very nice. Was it like a straight line on the bottom of it or something like that? There was something, it was quite an ugly headstock it had, but it had like a very prettily veneered body. It had a mother of toilet seat scratch plate. It had Dawn laced pickups in it, and it had a Wilkinson strat trem, which kind of had two saddles. It looked like it had six, but you could only adjust the three together and three together. That thing was absolutely solid. That was one of the things I fell out with my pal Jim over, because I was stripping it for parts. I used the bits, I can't remember, like it would maybe turned it into a bucky caster or something. I'm pretty sure it had a terrible headstock. It needed work on it though, because the pickups didn't go high enough. Was that what it was? There was a design flaw. The pickups either didn't go low enough or didn't go high enough to actually make the guitar work because of the shapes of the covers. You couldn't raise them up, so you ended up having to try and deal with the fact that the pickups didn't, they were miles away from the strings, and if you've got lace sensors, you want them right up against the strings. But a good guitar. So I fell out with my pal Jim because I was stripping it. He was like, that's a really good strat trem. I was like, yeah, I was like, can I have it? I was like, yeah, thinking, he's got a guitar sitting there waiting for that. I mean, I'll go round to his house next time and it'll be on his Mexican strat or something like that. Cool. Yeah, so of course you can have it. And then the following week, you're looking on eBay, and there it is for sale for 25 quid. And you're like, he's like, can I have that? And he's like, I'll be able to sell that for 25 quid. Like, yeah. So I sharp words that time, and then I finally fell out with him, never to talk to him again when he painted my guitar when I didn't want him to. I mean, I don't mind giving stuff away, but not if I'm just like pure, there's a pure, I can have a cup of coffee. Yeah, no problem. There you go, have a cup of coffee. Then you go up, you're right. I want to buy a cup of coffee for 2 quid. It's like, no. I give it to you. Enough of the rant. Little bit going in the synthesizer region here, having so many sounds. I'm not really knowing what to do with them. But even just having the high pass filter, I'm really chuffed with the high pass filter working so well. This still needs a slight final thing. I could raise the pickups up a little bit. It's like kind of, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do with the rail because it's got its own adjustments. You could say they kind of sit. They look like they're in an odd place because they're in the middle of the back plate for the humbucker, but I took the other bucker off, so it doesn't need to be there. So I can adjust it, and the actual rail bit sticks out a bit, so it's actually, the rail's sitting higher than this, but the surfaces are too together, so I'm going to try and decide whether I want the actual rail bit or the plastic bit to look right. Don't think it really matters. Going back to Double Ass there about perfect tone, I think an awful lot to do with the tone is where you're playing. Just like my pal Rab, I don't know if you're watching. His house was always you go down for his house for a jam, and he was like a minimalist. Didn't have just crap all over the walls like I do. So you go into his room, it was just like a laminate floor, a couple of settees, a couple of paintings in the walls. A nice place, not a shithole. And it just made it so echoey, and you just couldn't get a good sound out. Even just out an acoustic guitar, it was always horrible. What you want is tons of reflective surfaces or tons of non-reflective surfaces at funny angles so that you get a decent sound out the amp. Really does so much for it. And I kind of, where I'm standing here, I'm now using this speaker at the bottom, but having your amp, and always play stand. Basically, when the video's not on and I'm playing the guitar, I'm kind of standing here anyway. I'm maybe not looking that way, maybe watching TV or something. But having the amp sort of a meter away from you and being in view of the speaker makes a huge difference rather than having it, like wedged against the wall in the corner pointing over there. It's like, no, have it pointing at you and have it, this far away from you. That's for when I'm using the internal speaker, which I'm not using that one there. That cabinet doesn't count because the speakers are, you can see it's kind of triangular, so that bottom speaker is actually pointing up the way, which is a fantastic design. When you ever use that in the studio, it means you can stand right in front of the amp, and instead of just getting all the sound hitting the backs of your legs, it's pointing at you and you can hear it. What a dream. Environment can change the hiss on an amp a lot, yes. You think dimmer switches and stuff are really bad. I don't think it's the same things it used to be. Yeah. And it's like, also, I ran for many years using only one pedal, a rat pedal, and that was so I could get the soft tech to sound distorted at house levels. And it was really noisy all the time. And it wasn't until I bought a pedal, it didn't work, and I took it back to the guy. The guy's like, have you got a power supply unit thing? And I was like, no, and he gave me that as a swap. And then as soon as I started using the power supply, it had about a billionth of the noise that I was getting from the rat pedal using the stupid wall wart thing. I'd never really considered that. So I kind of cleaned up my sound so much. That's how I ended up with hundreds of pedals, because that's still, all of that together is less noisy than that one rat pedal with the dodgy plug thing. I never really thought about it. I had a band called Airborne. Yes, one of my dad's favourite songs. I used to always sing it. I can't remember it now. The one that was Too Hard. Nope. Get Used to It. I can't remember what it goes like. Yes, I do know them. I've never actually seen them. I was actually meant to go with my pal's wife about 2 years ago, and I just couldn't afford to go. So I had to kind of jump in. That minute was a bit annoying. Yes, the way you place the amp does make a huge difference to all your buzzes and pops. But also, even if that wasn't a factor, it's still a factor being. I remember years ago, this is going back 20 years, I had a Laney, and I used to sit in a sort of wee Ducat thing in below my telly. And it sounded all right. And then one time I was moving stuff about and I had it out on the floor, like a foot away from the wall, and it just sounded 10 times better. So sometimes they need to have a bit of air behind them. Probably not working so much for that amp because it's it's like these open back things. So that if I was listening to that amp on its own, using its internal speaker, then having it against the wall is making it a closed back when it doesn't want to be a closed back. It wants to be an open back to give sound out the back. The 3x12 at the bottom is closed back, so it doesn't for that. So it does make a difference. But yes, it can make a difference to the bass hiss and noise as well. Also, I found it before when I was sitting playing the guitar, I was trying to learn something or playing along guitar. Whenever you put any single coils near your laptop, it bzzz. But what you want on that is you want a hum cancelling switch on your Strat, and that would reduce that a lot. Do you use a Voodoo Labs? I don't even know what a Voodoo Labs is. So no, I know Voodoo Lounge by the Stones, but I don't know Voodoo Labs. Some sort of, I don't know. Is it a distortion pedal? Is it kind of like a helix or as a power supply? Okay, fair enough. No, I think it's a Harley Benton one. I keep meaning to buy another one, like a bigger one, or a bigger one, so I can take that small one and make a pedal board for the band. I mean, like basically just a piece of metal with a tuner, probably now a fuzz pedal, and a power supply on it would be quite nice. I'm quite taken with fuzz now. I was really enjoying that sakai, the twin note one, but the fuzz bass one, this sounds great. This sounds great with some. So it's as thin as it goes. Get thinner than that, as thin as it goes. There you go. That's so thin, it's ridiculous. Yeah, power supply is one of those things that I don't know. You can't. Can you really enjoy having it? It's like a necessity. I don't feel it's not like pure. Yeah, I've got a new power supply. Let's plug it in and have a go. It's like it's kind of like a utilitarian device. It's not like, oh, I've got a new fuzz pedal. Let's plug it in and see what goes on. Or oh, I've got a new guitar. Let's see what it's like. It's kind of like power supply. And oh, can you hear the fact it's not as noisy? It's like, maybe, but yes, I do need to get another one. The days of wall warts are just gone. They just don't work. I mean, that wee Harley Benton one, I can't remember what it's called, but I think they're maybe only about 20 quid new, something like that. Hey Bob, is it going? I do not have a flying V bass. My girlfriend has a flying V bass, which I've still not given to her. Yes, I do. That was a Stag or a G2, kind of a bit like a Warlock type bass that I didn't really like the look of. If it had been an actual Warlock or an actual Mockingbird, whatever it was a copy of, that would have been fine, but it wasn't. It was kind of, BC Riches have a tendency to look very wrong if it's not actually a BC Rich. Generally, normal BC Riches, there's something about whoever it is designs them has like an eye for making it look cool. It's Thistle Street Bob. Hey, Thistle Street Bob. That wouldn't be Thistle Street just down there, would it? It's Bob. Thistle Street Bob. Right, Rap, how's it going? Bob Gardner, right. Very good. I was talking about you earlier on, but luckily you missed it, so you won't be offended. Yeah, no, the Flying V bass, I never really finished it. The problem with that was I tried to take it to China, and it's like it's got a 24 octave, 24 fret, 2 octave neck, and that just does not fit in a bag. So I was thinking, I can maybe carry that with me, and I'll put the body is like a flying V body doesn't fit in any sort of bag either. It's pure this wide, but this, and it's like just it's a nightmare. So I need to take it over there at some point, and she's going to paint it up. Unlike most other, in fact, that's bizarre. We're talking about just talking about that power supply. The guy I bought it off, who lives in Denny, lovely guy. I bought a few pedals off him. I had just built the bass, and I was round seeing him buying a pedal off him, and he had a flying V bass. That's like I'd never seen up until that point. I didn't realise you could actually get a full scale flying V bass, because the Gibson ones are short scale and a bit smaller, but the flying V, as soon as I made it for Civet, I thought this is hilarious, because she's not short for an Asian lady, but she's that height, and the flying V is that height. Especially when you got it standing up, it sits to there, because not only do you have the full length of the neck, you've also got, if you imagine it being a V, so the bridge is here. So instead of the guitar stopping here, it comes away out here. So you've got the full scale. It just ends up being like this. Hilarious fun. Aye, Rab, so I don't know if I've mentioned this before. You seen that? Is it ever going to focus on it ever? Probably not. No, this is Magnum tonic wine from Jamaica. Original Jamaican recipe. It's 16.5%. You can only get it in these wee silly bottles, but it tastes like Benylin, and it's almost as nice as Bucky. Yeah, it could be a substitute. It's quite an expensive one. I had to buy it off Amazon, and I ended up having to buy. I'm still drinking the Bucky though. I ended up buying 7 bottles of it, because you had to make, so it's like 7 bottles for £20.50 or something like that, because if you made £20 it's free postage. So it's 7 bottles for 20 quid. I don't know what that works out at. £3 something, what's 3 6s or 18? About £3 a bottle for a 200ml bottle. So it's a third of, but next time we need to get together and get a Bucky, and I'll bring a couple of them over, and we can get tanked into them first, and we can both have not sore throats, and the joy of drinking Benylin without having to take it. It's very thick though. It's pure super viscous. It's kind of like Benylin, as in, I think in a physical reality, if you had to try and drink 200ml of that and 200ml of Bucky, you'd be able to drink the Bucky much quicker, because that just takes longer to come out the bottle, because it's so thick. Yeah, so as you see, I'm wearing a new Mad Malko t-shirt. The Mad Malko t-shirts are in. I've not really decided what I'm doing with them. If anyone wants one, if you give me a shout on the Facebook page, Mad Malko Guitars, and I don't know, sell them for like a tenner free postage, something like that. It was a slight mistake. It just says Mad Malko. It doesn't say Mad Malko Guitars. I didn't notice when I was showing the print. Does that look good? That's perfect. You've got the font, pure perfect, brilliant. Can I get it in a funny colour? Yep, no bother. I never realised it didn't say guitars envelope. So these just say Mad Malko. I've really only got extra large, which are this size, some large, and I think there might be a couple of mediums. I can't remember what colours they are. Unfortunately, all the t-shirts came out in black, but there's green writing, this orange writing, and what's the other one? There's a white writing one as well, and a white writing, all on black t-shirts. It's just one of these things that having to try and do these things over an internet rather than actually just going into the shop, because it can't cover COVID made that a bit different. So a Stonehenge mistake. It is a little bit. I stuck that. I went for a walk. I've not actually put the video up yet. Another stupid thing. I decided last week. I decided I was going to try and go to a graveyard, Campsie Glen, and restring my 12-string resonator guitar just for a change of scenery. David's mentioned before. Yeah, okay. Maybe Trade Tuesday. Maybe get a free T-shirt with the trade. Yeah, that could be a way of going. I think this is going to be going up in the Trade Tuesday thing. If anyone wants this, to swap it for something. Not really sure exactly how I'm going to start up, but I've bought a couple of guitars. So Trade Tuesday does start on Tuesday, and there'll be time traveling when I come in. And it's like, what's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? And it's like, well, you've seen it. It's these t-shirts. And, oh, what's this guitar? And it's like, you'll see it's an Encore with stickers on it. Oh, I've still got a hot chip sticker on the back. So I'm actually, before I've videoed me doing all this wiring in it, before I do that, I've just remembered what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the entire 10-minute video of me removing and getting really annoyed and taking off this sticker using lighter fluid, showing you how annoying it is, but how to do it. Don't be using Stanley knife blades. It'll just scratch it. So you can, these do come off with time and just stick on. Oh no, I can't do that. I was going to say stick on a record or stick on Star Wars and just sit and pick away at it. But if I do that, then I'll get hit with a copyright strike. Won't be able to put up the video. I've got music on. DHK, I do love the paint jobs in your guitars. Thanks. I wish I could do a good, see if I could do a real paint job. Eventually I'll learn how to do it properly, but the dippy ones went really well for 2 or 3 I got. There's one in Blitzkrieg shop which kind of came out looking totally like a marble bowling ball. It looked like marble, black and white, and it looked fantastic. A couple of them came out like that. I don't know how they came out like that because I tried doing other ones and they just went lumpy. And it's like when I dumped them into the water, all the paint just stuck to the bottom bit, so you ended up with a white guitar with big blobs and lumps of paint on it. And it's like, I think it's got to be temperature related. So I've done a few like that. This one here totally failed as well, and it was like I saw it, I did it, it all went wrong, and I just went saw it, and I just left through it, and then I came back through, gave it another bit of a scoosh with the luminous green and the luminous red, and then thought, right, I've not actually played this guitar. I bought it really cheap, and it needed a lot of work to make it work. So I'll just put it back together again, and then I'll paint it later. And then when I put it back together, suddenly I went, I actually kind of like it. It's kind of messed up and sort of wrong looking. All the paint did stick to the bottom, but it's got a certain something. Yeah. Even though, as you say, failed are really cool. This one sort of failed, but I changed my mind on this one. But I did a couple. Actually, that Van Halen, that one there, I couldn't get it to do anything. Everything I did just looked awful. I tried just doing it black and white, thinking I was going to get the marble finish, and something reacted, or it was too cold, I think is probably the answer, or the water was too hot, or there was some chemical reason why it was just not going to happen. And then eventually, because I tried dipping it about 3 or 4 times, the lumpy bits of paint that I hadn't sanded off got more lumpy bits of paint on top of it, ended up like a pure... I just use rattle cans. I wish I could... A compressor, I'm sure, would give you a much, much better room. I need to empty stuff. The garage is just full of my stuff. When I moved in, I basically took over the entire garage. There's a bench in there and everything. The only thing I really need that's in there is the tumble dryer and the lawnmower, and everything else is just rubbish. I've just got my big Celestian speakers and about 10 guitar bodies and an old mattress, and it's only a single car garage, so I really need to get room for it. I don't know. I mean, I've kind of got the hang of doing the rattle cans to the point of it doesn't look that bad. It works fine for the bucket guitars or the Iron Brew guitars because you kind of think they're stupid anyway, but it's like, I can't do... Hey Mo, that would have to be Golf Girl would be my favourite Caravan trombone intro. Yes. And yes, I do remember going down to... Whether you remember it or not, I don't know. Go down to Ozfest 98 on the bus like at midnight or 2 in the morning, whatever, went with the midnight bus, and you having Caravan on your Walkman and just going bah, 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 at full volume on a bus with lots of people trying to sleep, and lots of people, every single one of them was a heavy metal head and didn't really appreciate your rendition of it. If you haven't heard Golf Girl by Caravan, look it up. It's one of those, I used to test people with it. It's one of those things that you put it on, and within 10 seconds of this record, you will either think it's the most amazing thing you've ever heard, or you'll just absolutely detest it. So it's kind of worth looking it up. It'll be on YouTube. Just the album version starts off with a trombone or a trumpet or something. Yeah. Oh, no, I forgot to send you. it was 3 in the morning. I didn't want to wake you up. I found a guitar exactly the same as your bass, but it's a guitar like an Aria Cardinal, 2 DiMarzio humbuckers, the same translucent blue. Kind of looks good. Earlier on, I was talking about having Aria sets. I'm just now looking at an Aria laser, and I've got a laser bass, and I've got a Thor sound and a Thor sound bass. And I was thinking that would have been perfect. It was even the same colour. I don't know if would you want the turquoise guitar to go with the turquoise bass? I don't know. And did you know Kurt Cobain famously used an Aria Cardinal, the guitar, but the bass? I think partly because it's not that different upside down, so you would play it upside down, and the knobs were, it was kind of like a symmetrical thing. Ambient temperature affects the finish. Use a heater. Avid mixed results, touching up the car, right? Well, avid mixed results. It's kind of like a mix of lots of different things. But yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, don't know. What I found is really good is painting that steel, the checker plate. That paints really well. It's almost, I'm talking about painting with pound shop black paint, and it just goes on brilliantly and gives it an amazing finish. It's almost like it's been designed for painting. I think I have decided that I'm going to paint the scratch plate that one black to hide its hackett shape. But there's an update project. The Tony Iommi Monkey SG, which I had last week, cleaned it up. I've now got silver P90s for it, which I'm going to have to route a little bit to take it in. I also found a scratch plate, and I haven't yet dug out the badass bridge, but I will. Tubas in the Moonlight, Birds of Dog Judah band. I've got one a video I got obsessed with watching it a couple of years ago. I can't remember what the song goes like. It's in black and white. It's on not Monty Python. Is it Tonight's the 1948 show or something it was called, and it was science. Yeah, anyway, Birds of Dog Judah band. Ridiculous, obviously. I remember seeing him on Top of the Pops and just going, it's the bit where there's a guitar solo in one of the songs, and the singer, Vivian Standstill, who's a guy in Tubular Bells, so it's a Tubular Bells, that guy, he's like to the guitar going, come on, you can do it. He's like, it's like the best, worst guitar solo you've ever heard. And the whole band are like, come on, you can do it. And he's like, it's funnier than I make it sound. Yeah. So I think I've decided not to bother buying the proper John Birch pickup surrounds for this. They're £25. And I've got bits of metal, bit of plastic lying about. So I'm just going to make them out of plastic. And that's it. They give you that Burns guitar. All right, that Burns guitar was all right. I quite liked it. It had a Mad Dog thing on it. I think that goes back a while. I don't know how you'd really pimp it up. It's kind of good. Did I ever watch Rolling Bills Watches? I didn't actually watch it until relatively recent. I never thought it was funny when I was younger. I don't know why. And then I think I ended up watching it when it was on Dave or something like that. And yeah, not really my thing. Yeah, it's all right. I will. Actually, you phoned me the other day, and I forgot. I'm sorry I didn't pick it up. I didn't hear it. I keep putting I've been now remembering that I put my phone on silent when I'm doing a video. Therefore, the phone stays in silent, so I've kind of forgotten to turn it back on again. And it was like, Mo phoned you 17 hours ago. It's like, I'll not bother phoning you back 17 hours later. I can't remember. Maybe it was something to do with that. What strings and picks do you use? Strings, I have just recently maybe changed my mind about 10s, about 9s. I've been using Rotosound pinks because I can get them from the Blitzkrieg shop. The guy, he gives me a wee special deal. And their fat 9s are really good. I put 9s on that and haven't even noticed just when you get used to it. So 9s are pretty good. I like the Rotosound ones for my cheap guitars. Or the ones I'm selling. Actually, have I got a packet of them left? Actually, I bought these, right? Tico. Just because I'm such a fan of The Force Awakens, Rose Tico. And they're like £1.50 a packet, and they're all right. honestly, they're totally fine. So if you're thinking of selling a guitar, even just buy 2 or 3 packets of this and always have one in your bag, and it's your gig bag, so that if you ever snap a string, you've got strings. They might not be as super good as rotos or anything like that, but they're all right. I used to buy ones called Orpheus. They were terrible. Yeah, but my strings are Elixir. Are these the correct? Yeah, those are the best strings. Elixir Polyweb. Polyweb, I wasn't sure how this worked, but I think Polyweb have the thickest coating on them. I can actually see it looking here, yes. So Polyweb are the ones that are dead hard to get. They're more expensive. They've got the thickest coating. They never wear out. Nanoweb used to be the other type you got. They're kind of got a thinner coating, and then the new ones, OptiWeb, have got a really thin coating on it. So I would go for them in that order of goodness. I would buy Polyweb, and if I couldn't get them, I would buy Nanoweb, and if I couldn't get them, I'd go OptiWeb. So Polyweb Elixir 10s, they are £12 or £13 a set, which I begrudge to paying, because I'm paying that for 3 sets of roto sounds. And it's like, I've even seen myself trying to sell guitars and taking the strings back off because I'm selling it. I do actually remember one time I bought Elixir bass strings. They cost 40 quid. And I tried them and I didn't like them. And I had them on about 2 different basses. And then I had them on a third bass, which was a Yamaha bass I was selling because I didn't have any other. And I think I was selling it for 100 quid. The guy's like that, you take 80, and I was like, let's get £40 worth of strings on it. Is that you take 80 if you take the strings off? So I was like, yep. So I kept my £40 strings. I don't imagine I've actually sold them. They're on one of my bases somewhere. Just because it was like £40 for a set of strings. Pure ridiculous. Pure ridiculous. But I will drop off send me a text message or text message you back. Or I'm on Facebook all the time. My phone is rubbish. I've recently managed to make it so it actually does work with WhatsApp, sort of, as long as I don't have to download any videos. Because like, as soon as it comes up with a video that I've got to download, I download it, the whole thing just freezes up, and then there's no memory left in the phone. That might be a part of my Trade Tuesday thing as well. Do a trade, you can maybe add in a phone that's not 15 years old for me to use. I'm like, Caldwell, I don't recognise your name, but hey, my friend, I just bought a Yamaha RevStar. Yes, RS820. I don't think I've got a video of an 820. I think it's the 520 my pal's got. That was lovely. But the guy I swapped to get my Mexican Strat, my Japanese Strat, had 2 of them. He had the 820 and the 520. One of them he had an 8 series one. One of them had 2 P90s and one of them had 2 humbuckers. I can't remember which way around. They were both a sort of similar colour, kind of like a sort of faded denim. One was a sort of faded denim blue and one of them was a sort of faded denim green. But I mean, they were lovely. Kind of going on the kind of Gretschy. Maybe it's like if you don't want to spend all the money on a Gretsch, they're kind of going in that direction, quite cordy. I thought they were really good. And basically, if you're talking about if you get a t-shirt that just says Yamaha don't make shite stuff, Yamaha don't make shite stuff. It's like everything Yamaha makes always pretty good. I mean, they do cheap stuff, but even like, you're looking at buying your wee £20 keyboards. Okay, it's never going to be great, but it's still the best £20 keyboard. It's still usable. You can still play it. It's still good enough to learn on. The same with all the guitars and motorbike engines and my surround sound amps are Yamaha, and they make the best boat engines by far. Yamaha totally kick ass. They've just got a thing about not they don't have the kudos of a Fender or a Gibson. I think you get quite a lot of people who have like a Gibson Les Paul, like a new £2,000 one, and a Fender Strat or a Tonic, whatever's a favourite, and then they start buying things that the Yamahas at 820 is probably about 800 quid, 700 quid, something like that. And they're buying these things just because they're getting basically the same quality of guitar that they're getting with the Les Paul and the £2,000 Les Paul and the £1,000 Strat. Yamaha are just awesome. It's also got a switch. Actually, I was talking earlier on about the high pass filter I put in this guitar. That's what I stole it from. Basically, it's got the tone pot pulls out. It just doesn't do it. It just switches it in permanently. Whereas I've got mine on a pot, so it's variable. Ugh. Heard of Safarzo? No idea. I'm not sure. Someone told me at one point, I remember seeing before that there's only about 2 different string companies in the world. It's like D'Addario and Rotosound, and everyone else just buys strings from D'Addario and Rotosound and repackages them. I don't think that can't be true. I know Elixir strings are apparently D'Addario strings. So basically Elixir don't make strings. Elixir make that rubber Gore-Tex coating. So they buy strings from D'Addario, dunk them in the rubber stuff, and then package them up and sell them as their own, but they don't actually make the actual strings. Yeah. But I haven't heard of Sfarzo. The thing about these things, it's always worth buying them, especially if they're cheap. You know, you're looking for it's like £3 for a set. Well, give it a shot. How bad are they going to be? A0707. What are your favourite HSS? Have you tried non-strat ones? Charvel and Jackson are kind of stratty though. I'm trying to think if I've got any HSS guitars that are not stratty. I don't know if I know they're not stratty. My this is HSS. My Casio. That's HSS. So it's probably that one. That might, whether it's not, I don't know if it's necessarily my favourite because it's HSS or because it's got the computer inside it. I don't honestly think I've got another HSS guitar of all of them. I am not a fan of a super strat as such. I think it's purely just down to when I started playing the guitar. When I started playing the guitar, I was all the guitars you saw in the shops were all super strats. That was the thing in the 90s, was just super strats. And I was into Sabbath and the Beatles and the Stones, so I wanted an SG. Not this one, it was that one. But I went to an SG, and then later on I liked a Telecaster, and I liked a P-Bass, I liked the EBO, and I just didn't want the super stratty thing, and that's kind of stuck with me. I don't think I've really got any. Where does the argument come in for when it becomes a super strat? I mean, the Blazer, is that a super strat with the DiMarzio pickups? And it's still a strat though. And even that one there, it's still a strat with HSS rather than actually being a super strat. Super strat has to be like a Jackson. For me, it has to be pointed. It has to be pointy somehow, and it has to have either HSS, HSH, or a Floyd Rose of some sort, or a Cala to be a super strat. What made me want to start YouTube? It was, to be honest, it was watching videos and get really annoyed at not being able to find any of the guitars that I had. This is before I went mad for having lots of guitars, but even then I had obscure ones that didn't seem to exist online. So I thought my original plan was I was going to do a series of 10 videos, whatever it was. We're going to be 2 minutes long of me just going, here is my guitar, this is a Schecter, blah, 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 you know, and then playing it for 30 seconds, and then eventually it's now turned into videos of half an hour long of me explaining all the stuff about them. And one of the main things was I wanted to hear real sound. I didn't want to hear the sound of a guitar going through a million effects. It's like, Peter, here's my Fender Stratocaster, and it's just it's like, yes, so I'm just using blah 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 processing power and just a touch of reverb, delay, and tremolo, obviously, then a bit of tube scream in it. And I just wanted to show what a guitar sounded like when you just plugged it into an amp and sat next to it. So I'm still kind of, that's why I've never mic'd up, and I've not gone onto the lapel mic thing, so that when you hear me play the guitar, it's like you're standing there. That's basically what I'm hearing. I just thought it was much better. Also got really annoyed with videos that were, I'm going to be able to get close enough. Here's the video, and I just play blues and not speak at all. Just playing blues for the backing track, and then it would just end. I hated that. I still hate those videos. I can't watch them. I want to see the person's face. And even you don't need to do all the mad talking and stuff like the rabble on that I do, but they need to say, "Hi, this is a vintage SG I'm having a wee demo of," and then play it rather than just having a side angle camera and it just starts off and just playing boring blues. Rubbish. Ernie ball strings. Every Ernie ball I've come across has been great, but they kind of sit between the Rotos, as in they're more expensive than the Rotos. Rotos are British as well. So I don't know what will happen once we get independent. So I mean, they won't be in the same country anymore, so I don't know if I'll really worry about it. If you buy Scottish drinks, I probably would. I used to originally buy Roto Sounds purely because they had a picture of John Entwistle on the back. It's a good enough for you. Any experience with Westfield guitars? Tons of experience with Westfield guitars. They're great. Well, when I say they're great, they can be great. You can pick them up for good prices. What I would always check is just check the neck's not worked. I've had quite a few strats where the neck's been like this, but they're all second hand now. So I don't know whether these guitars, the ones with the twisted necks, were ever sold as a full price guitar. They could have been sold in cash converters for 20 quid type thing, even direct from Westfield, based in East Kilbride. So they're kind of Scottish importers. I think they were a UK-wide brand, but they were imported into East Kilbride. And they go through ranges. If you've got a chance to play it. Apart from having ones with a twisted neck, I've never had a Westfield that was absolutely shit. I have had plenty of guitars that were absolutely shit. A Westfield could always be made to play, assuming it's not damaged, as in the neck's not twisted and all the parts are on it, it can be made to play pretty good. And they did lots of models. And a Flying V that was particularly good. It was just basically a Flying V. It was just the same as my Japanese Arbiter Flying V, apart from it said Westfield on it. There's no point having two Flying Vs the same. That was really good. But 90% of the ones you see are strats. I remember doing an Italian guy. Someone goes up here, yes, I'd like to. I think it was put humbuckers in his Westfield, or was it to wire it so it had humbuckers in it? Or did he put a hot wheel in it? Something like that. And I was like, yeah. He said, I just bought this. It's like pure. It was like pure. I bought it brand new. And I was like, right. I think I'm going to charge this guy. I think it was putting actual humbuckers in, so I had to charge him like 50 quid because I had to route the back of the guitar and the pick guard to get it in. And it was like pure. So I ended up charging 50 quid. And I was like, thinking really bad if he'd spent £150 on a guitar. And I was like, no, I got it for £30 brand new. So I did a good job for it. It was great. Yes, I need a hotter bridge on my Strat. Try sticking in an extra pickup. Forget the hotter bridge. Just put another pickup in next to it and run it in series, and then get yourself a humbucker. I don't know. No, this guitar is this the same person? I could be a Les Paul and a bolt on neck. Not a stag one, I don't think. I know they did do them. The thing about the bolt on neck is it's not the actual fact that it's a bolt on neck that makes it better. It's not the actual fact it's a glued neck that makes it better than the bolt on one. It's just the one with the glued neck on it is a more expensive guitar. So it's not exactly the same guitar, but instead of having a bolt on neck, it's got a glued neck. It'll have stuff like this. This is a vintage, so it's not the same thing, but this is your set neck. So it's got the fancy thing, and it's like a bit more nicer and slightly better hardware. So it's like a £300 guitar rather than £150. But the actual guitar is not the same. The actual bolt-on bit doesn't make any difference, I don't think. I'm quite happy. My Flying V, my Arbiter Flying V, is as good as any Flying V ever, and it's a bolt-on neck. It's just one of those things that it's cheaper to make a bolt-on neck. So if you're going to try and produce a cheap Les Paul, you're aiming for 150 quid. Bolt-on neck's cheaper to do. When you're trying to make a more premium one, thinking you're 300 quid, it's only like an extra fiver to make it a set neck, and then it's worth more money. Doesn't mean it's better. I mean, I'm sitting here with an SG, which isn't the ideal option because SG, there's not an awful lot of wood going on here to get a bolt in. So SGs that are bolt on tend to be a different shape. The neck doesn't join say it's joining there at the last fret, and you're still outside the body. On the Epiphone bolt on ones and stuff, and most of the other ones, the neck kind of comes into here somewhere, so it's got more to grip on. So it does change it from being an SG a little bit, not much, but enough to be annoying. Thanks for all the questions. This is great. That's me done my hour. That's great, and none of you bastards have bid on my £100 Aria Pro yet, so that could be an interesting one. I'd really like to get that. I was going to try to find a picture of this one. Yeah. Vintage, I've never come across. See, every time I pick this up, I go, there's a massive gouge in the neck. It's not, it's because it doesn't have dots. So rather than cut dots, because I want to keep it original, I've just stuck a wee bit of tape on so I can see the threads and I keep feeling it. Slap some bass. I can't slap. I'll play some bass though. I might do both. I'll get the double neck on just for a laugh. I think I was playing it last week. Questions are coming in now. Vintage and next couple. Yes, I've never had a bad vintage, and I've had a few excellent ones. The one difference was one time, for whatever reason, I went to try and buy a vintage Les Paul, a vintage SD, which was probably dead similar to this, but it was white with the 3 pickups in it. And as soon as I played it, I was like, this is hideous. There was something very wrong with the neck joint. Like, as a design, it felt really, really weird. This doesn't have it. This just, like, it's not noticeably, not measured on it. It's not noticeably any different from the Gibson. Whereas whatever one I had before, or I had a shot of and didn't buy, there was something funny going on here, which the last 2 of these haven't had. So I don't know. Are you married? I have 20 guitars and I don't have a woman playing me up. Actually, I'm not married, no, but I've got a girlfriend who's in Taiwan just now. It's going the other way for her. So it's like normally there's a meme she posted before, and I was like, showed you like you get a single guy and he's got his long hair and basically the big Marshall stack, and basically just this picture here, and then it shows you the next one, the girl coming in, and then gradually the guy gets his hair cut and he's got this thing where he's got one acoustic guitar in the corner and all that's going. Whereas with Civic, what happened is now she's got about 10 guitars. Hey! So I worked very well. I'm not a very special woman. I have a woman and an acoustic. Yeah, that's one of my minds. You need an acoustic, an electric, and a bass. Come on, can't argue. Surely a woman can understand that. I remember my pal's G's wife. We've got a couple of our pals on here tonight. G was like, Pierre, Marco's got a lot of guitars. How many guitars do you think she's got? Think he's got? And she's like, Pierre, I don't know. And obviously thinking of a really high number, like 6. And I was like, I've got 6 everywhere. Just like, well with it. I didn't end up getting the Vox standard P bass. I was talking to you about the other day. A vintage V4 Tony Butler. I don't know who Tony Butler is, but vintage are good. Definitely. Josh will tell you. Yeah, a limited edition Epiphone Special 2 from the custom shop. I don't really know what that is. I do like the Epiphone Specials though. Less now, I know how much they cost. Because the Epiphone Specials, maybe not the Special 2, used to be like 110 quid. And I remember going in and trying one in Merchant City Music. And the guy, I was like, yeah, looking for I think my pal looking for a guitar to start with. And the guy was just like, just buy that. And I was like, whoa, because normally you don't get that. No, if you go into a guitar shop, it's like, so sir, how much do you have to spend? £300? Okay, let me show you these guitars at £600. Where you went out was like, I'm looking for a guitar, thinking of learning. The guy's like, that Epiphone, £110, a belter, and I think my pal did actually end up buying it. But it was a fantastic guitar. It was just plain black, bolt-on neck. Nothing fancy about it, but a solid guitar. I didn't realise now they're like 190 though. I sold one just before Christmas. I got one from my pal Alex who's on here. I got quite a lot of money for it. I kind of put it on it like on eBay. My plan was I'll put these things on for 50 quid more than they're worth, but with a best offer, because some people just see the best offer thing and go, oh, I want £200 for it. Oh, I'll try to offer them 160, and then you just go, yes, snared them. Yeah. An Epiphone Futura Custom. Explorer. Want to change the pickups there? EMG with Seymour Duncan / Bear Improvement. It depends very much on what it is you want. When you say EMG, are the active EMGs? The 81, 85, because they sound very different from normal pickups. But in general, if you're a mad Slash fan and that's the sound you want, because Slash kind of uses sort of vintagey sounding pickups, whereas if you're a mad Slash fan but like to play Metallica, you want EMGs. I wouldn't go for the Seymour Duncans, to be honest. I would look at Warman's Iron Gear, something like that, because they'll be pretty much indistinguishable, apart from you won't be able to go, look, Seymour Duncan from the Seymour Duncan, just copies. But they're pretty good. I know the Futura guitar you're talking about. It's kind of like an Explorer, but a little bit more pointy. I was asked to slap some bass, so I'll not slap it because I can't slap, but I won't play it. Oh. Also, it's just an excuse to play this guitar, which is awesome. I really like it. I'm just going to assume it's in tune. There is no tone control. I don't know. Epiphone Custom Shop, maybe. I think I may be pushing that a little bit. But yeah, it can be done. But yeah, I would have a go at the pickups, but I'm back channeling a bit here. I would have a look at whatever. If you look at the description of the Slash ones, they'll say vintage, low output, creamy sound or something like that. Look on Warman's and look at what ones he's got described as vintage, low output, creamy sound, and you'll basically be getting the same pickup, but you'll be paying like 30 or 40 quid for the pair rather than £100 for the pair, sort of thing. Picked up a Vantage Strat copy today on the cheap, total plywood, love it. Vantage are funny, I actually just sold. I had a Vantage on eBay up until last night when someone bought it. Vantage did what all the Japanese companies did. Aria Pro, Washburn all did this. In 1986, 87, something happened in Japan. There was something to do with the exchange rates or something, and basically it became unfeasible to build budget guitars in Japan. So they just moved everything into Korea, and everything changed. The Vantage one I've got, I would gather it's either a Super Strat, a Stratocaster, or a Telecaster, and it's got the same headstock. But good guitars, but basically the same guitars as if you're looking at a late 1988 to 93 Washburn, Aria Pro, Kramer, any of these brands basically were all made by Samick. So basically it's exactly the same guitar, but with a slightly different shaped headstock and some different parts, really. But I mean, I wouldn't doubt that a Vantage Strat copy is basically the sort. Even if it's plywood doesn't matter if it's well built. You're probably finding you're talking about the higher end of Squires is what it would be comparable to just now. Plywood doesn't. It's a good tone wood. It's a bit of a pig. It looks rubbish, and it's dead difficult to take screws out of. See if you ever try to take the scratch plate off or something like that. You find it on old guitars, sometimes the plywoods, because the layers are glued together, the glue somehow sticks to the screws. So you're trying to pull this, unscrew the bridge or unscrew the scratch plate, and the screws' heads just snap off. That's really annoying. That's what I don't like about plywood. Yeah. $250 for probably just get a fancy top on it. Yeah, the thing with something like that is it's going to be worth its money, especially if it's a. What's up with the oscilloscope? The oscilloscope's not on. The oscilloscope is for. Well, it doesn't actually work with that. I need to put it to the guitar amp. And well, I've not actually got it, but in fact, even better than that, I was moving stuff about yesterday, so now I can just plug it into the line out of the bass amp. Apple back a little bit. There you go. Yeah, so the oscilloscope does nothing. I got it at the dump. I always fancied it, and basically I wanted to stick. I thought it'd be pretty cool just having it in the background, so whatever I'm playing goes through it. It does have two inputs, so I'm thinking I might actually be able to get both sides in. I've not done it yet, but I'm thinking I've got that drummer pedal, yeah, which is playing through the guitar amp. That drummer pedal should really be playing through the bass amp because I very rarely use bass, so that would give me like a much better bass sound because it's more like a much better and more accurate, more like a PA sound because it's a drum kit coming through a bass amp rather than a drum kit coming through a guitar amp. So I'm going to do that, and then that would mean I could have two halves, which would mean that when I was playing the guitar, it would just be the guitar and it wouldn't have the drums on it. I've not done it yet. Hey Andrew! You're just Andrew, I assume you're Mr. Lennon. You're on the bucky. Can I play something by Guns N' Roses? That guitar is a 0 fret. Electric Caveman, I don't know which guitar you're talking about, but I've got behind a little bit. This guitar has a 0 fret, yes. But I don't know which guitar I was talking about that had a 0 fret. No, this one, no. That was my pal that I got it off. Had a great idea of cutting. He'd cut it in and put a brass nut in, and rather than cutting it in and putting it where it should be, he'd cut it in lower. So I kind of wired the guitar, but it's like, this just sounds horrendous. And then it was like, yeah, that first fret looks as if it's small. So basically, that all it is a piece of wood that I wedged in to make up the gap to the end of, so the nut's in the right place. Because I was looking at it thinking, how come the first fret's the same size as the second fret? And it sounds hideous when you do that. So it's well worth making sure that's right. Can you play something from Guns N' Roses or Bon Jovi? I don't know if I can play anything by either of them. What's the do? No, I can't play. No, I can't play it. I can't play the Guns N' Roses. I don't really like Guns N' Roses, and I never have. Sorry. You asked me to play Sabbath, I could do that. Desert Island Bass is this one, because it's a bass and a guitar. See, that's cheating. Easy. If money wasn't a problem. I don't really have any basses that are better than this, really. I've got ones that are worth an awful lot more money, but once you get to a certain level, there is a point where you get to with a bass or a guitar where it is just pro level and as good as a guitar can be. Most of the ones I keep are kind of that, whereas, okay, you can go and compare it to a £2,000 guitar. Oh, the £2,000 guitar, it's better. Look at the fancy inlays. Yeah. Is it a better sounding than playing guitar? It's like, because there is a point you get to where things don't really get any better. But wow. See, then I think I don't actually have an acoustic bass anymore. If I had an acoustic bass, maybe it would be better for a desert island, because then I'm assuming, do you have power at this desert island? If you don't have an amp, I feel really silly turning up with a bass when you could have brought an acoustic one. Taylor Duncan overrated? Well, sort of, but they do look at the point that they do designs, though. They design pickups, whereas most of the other companies, and especially the Chinese ones, they just copy Seymour Duncan's designs, so they don't have the research and development costs. I just feel a bit. Seymour Duncan are just so cool, you know. It's like, oh, so many people buy a guitar and then without even playing the guitar, immediately put their Seymour Duncans in it, and I'm not into that. Do whatever you want. I'm not into it, so I will laugh at you, but I mean, I'm just as bad. Same thing as the other day. I did a complaining about slagging off people putting £500 worth of stuff on a £20 guitar. It's like, I do have guitars that are worth 30 quid that have got £100 pickup in them. So I mean, I'm laughing at myself as well. I'm not just slagging off other people. Steve G for visuals only. Sorry, I missed. I'm trying to catch up. What was the last thing Steve G said? I don't know. Do I need to check what the for visuals only is? Double neck. Oh, hold on. I thought you might be going to amplitude with the oscilloscope. No, I've no idea how the oscilloscope works. All I know is I can plug an audio source into it and twiddle the knobs to make it look like a Borg cube. That's really all I was looking for. Hawkwind riffs. Oh, yeah, I'll answer some more questions while I'm doing one, because I've actually got a bass and a guitar plugged in. So I wonder what's the drums like. That's not what I think. I don't know if that's worked. Of this universe, the cloud is flowing closer to me. It's all connected all by mind. It's the place that I design. Drop the darkest energy. Yeah, so that was my attempt at a Hawkwood song. Anyone who's watching, everyone who's watching right now, drop a like. I don't know what that means. Drop a like. Oh, thanks very much. So I think dropping A. You said here, I thought it was like E. Drop an E. No. Yeah. Hey, I got let down an Explorer Gothic in eBay. I got an EP58 Explorer. This week came across Honda 1981 LP in red for 50 quid. Yes, if you're talking about paying 50 quid for a 1981 Honda, you'd totally go for it. Bear in mind it's probably not a Japanese one, like it'll probably say on it. And if it doesn't have pickups in it, the chances are it might have been the one that came with DiMarzio's. Because there was a time you could probably pick up that guitar for like 50, 60 quid and it's got two real DiMarzio's in it worth 200 quid. So people might have taken it and stole the bits. Do chords fretted on the second fret count as cowboy chords? You're thinking about a B? I don't know if cowboys ever played B. I think cowboys only ever play those chords. I don't think you're allowed to play B in a cowboy. Yeah. Oscilloscope visuals only. That's exactly what it is. Yes. It works really well with the analog synth because it's got like waves on it. So you can go to square wave and it shows you a square wave and then you can see what pulse width modulation is. You can actually see it doing what you control, which I found really exciting. I should do a video for it at some point. Massive Universe, yes. PXR5, yes, I've got that. I remember my pal had that. No, it was actually my another pal's girlfriend, her wife now, has it, had that, and it's got the sticker on it. And while she was in Australia, her brother peeled off the sticker to see what was in below. There's a plug with a sticker on it, and basically what is in below that sticker, if you didn't know, is a wrongly wired plug. Yeah. So just out of interest. Steve Terryberry, I don't know who Steve Terryberry is. Is he somebody from Hawkwind? I really like. There's a compilation album called Masters Universe, which I really like. There's also one called Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, which I really like as well. Those are like, I think there's quite a lot on the two of them. There's over thing. I've got in Search for Space. I've actually got a bit of a guitar down there signed by 4 of the band who were actually on that first record. The drummer, the guitarist, and another 2 people that I can't remember because I was quite drunk. So I saw Nick Turner's Space Ritual, who was all old people from Hawkwind. And very much an early Hawkwind band. Although I did have my first ever CD had let's just dribble bucket over my face. Had it was a bit newer, so it had Night of the Hawks and Valium 10, I seem to remember. It never had Assassins of Allah, which I've never really been able to search for because I don't even know if it exists because you don't want to be typing that into. I'm not going to say it again. You can't type that into Google in case things come up bad. But from what I remember. Yes. I do remember that one. I can't believe I could actually play it without ever having ever played it before. That's how catchy that riff is. I've never actually managed to find a copy of that, apart from as I was saying, it was on that first CD I had ever, which was called. It's like a pic and a really like an airbrush drawing of like a hawk spaceship coming into land. I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't an album. It was a greatest hit say type thing from after Needle Gun and stuff. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing you might not know if you're at the Hawkwind is it's a saxophone through a la-la pedal. If you don't know what it is, I'm talking about all through Search for Space and that Masters Universe album. It's got this sound which just sounds like acid or magic mushrooms or something like that, and that's what it is. It's a saxophone through a la-la pedal. Because when I saw Nick Turner's Space Ritual, he was playing that sound, wearing a big spiky gimp suit, playing a saxophone through a la-la pedal, and it just made that noise. And it's like, that's what it is. It's like, as soon as you hear it, you'll know the word, the sound I mean. It's all over the place, and the sort of classic Hawkwind. Dude, bro, I don't really know that. The problem with Hawkwind is I've got so many damn albums, it's like I've never... It's not like with Black Sabbath, it's like, oh, so I've got 3 Black Sabbath albums, are amazing. How many are there? And you could argue there's like 8. Okay, there's like the Dio ones and stuff like that, but we needed 8. Okay, that's fine. I can do that. Or Pure Love the Doors. I might get all their albums. How many are there? 6. Rocking. You know what I mean? Whereas Hawkwind have 20 or 30 or something. You know, an awful lot. But Dave Brock did for many years use a West Tone guitar, so he's cool. I've got one sitting there, but it's too much stuff sitting on top of it to dig it out. That's the one very similar to his one. So if you're a Mad Hawkwind fan, buy a West Tone Spectrum. You can pick one up now for, I would have said £80 5 or 6 years ago. Now I think you're talking £150, and it's basically the same guitar as he used. All he did was stick lots of stickers on it. Yeah. I wish I was a bit more into Hawkwind. I haven't listened to be honest, I haven't actually listened to records in years. I just got my stereo set up last week. I'll maybe dig out some Hawkwind. I got the one that was always really expensive, Warrior on the Edge of Time. Is that the one that's the famous one that's meant to be pure amazing, but I could never find cheap enough. I eventually got that, but I don't think I've ever really listened to it very much. It was always that Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, which I thought was amazing, and then the Masters of the Universe, and all the other ones I bought. None of them, in fact. PXR5's got robot, da 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 on it, so it's good. It's also got the best Hawkwind song ever, but a shit version of it. The best Hawkwind song ever is called High Rise, and if Mo's still on, it used to make him sick, like literally. Even if he turned up, okay, put it on at 3 a.m. when everyone's drunk, fine, it's going to make him sick, but literally you could put that on at 8 o'clock at night and everyone's just turned up, put on High Rise and Mo will go green. Yeah, High Rise, living in a high rise. But the one that's on PXR5, which is the studio version, it's all right. But there's a one that used to, when CDs first came out, or when I remember CDs first came out, you used to get like budget CDs. Like a CD was 15 quid, but you get these ones for like 3 quid. There was a Hendrix one, which is just kind of like semi bootleggy, recorded off some radio show or something like that. There's a Hawkwind one. Have you ever seen the really cheap Hawkwind CD? It's got High Rise on it. The High Rise version, that's amazing. It's got the most amazing synthesizers in it. Zappa, I don't know enough about Zappa. I bought 2 CDs, Cheap Thrills, and I think it might be called More Cheap Thrills, back when CDs were expensive, but some of these Zappa things came out and they're like, if you're 80 minutes long, I've got a big foldy out thing and they were like £4 brand new. So buy that. A really good introduction to Zappa. Again, Zappa suffers from, I think I'll buy all the Zappa albums. I hope you've got £1,000 because there's like 100 of them or something like that. Yeah. Who was the Rockabilly? It wasn't a Rockabilly band. It was I've asked my pal Ivor, honestly, 20 times what that band was called. I can't remember. They weren't rockabilly. It was whoever it was that owned that bass before I got it was rockabilly. That's how he managed to wear out only the do frets. But they were a sort of new age, and they were called Fiction Factory. Did I get it right? I think it's or Fantasy Factory, something like that. Something like that. You go about to Hot One or First About. Wow, that's 1968 first album. I wasn't actually that impressed with the first album. I got it from my uncle. I stole it from my uncle the same as I got when I got this particular record player. He had a Hawkwind album, the first one. It's got Hurry on Sundown on it, I seem to remember, but all the rest is kind of, they've not quite hit their, I don't even know if Lenny's in the band at that point. It's kind of changed a little bit. Anyhow, if anyone's got one more question, I'll go for it. It's an hour and 25. Thank you for none of you having bid on this guitar. There might be a little sneak preview when it's like, what's in the box? Later on in the week. All right, yeah. I saw that Hondo bass yesterday, actually, up in the attic. I had to dig it out. It's a really good bass. It's meant to look, it looks a wee bit like, I don't know how old you are, but years and years and years ago, with Kellogg's Frosties, you used to get like a, what's the Smokey and the Bandit car? A Trans Am. You used to get that if you bought 4 packets of Frosties or whatever it was and sent it away. You got a Trans Am, which was black, with basically looked exactly like that bass. I wonder if I've still got one somewhere. I don't know. I would have thought I'd thrown it out. Diddy or Margaret X Gong. I saw Gong once in the Renfrew Ferry. He's wearing car coil springs on his shoes. That sounds quite Gong. Gong kind of freaked us out a little bit. Me and my pals went. This is 20 years ago. And there was quite an elderly lady, right, in her late 60s anyway, wearing like a cat suit going, I'm a pussycat. We're all just sitting there like that. This is freaky. Let's get out of here. I only subscribed tonight. Oh, that's brilliant. I was surprised I didn't lose any subs when I was slagging off normal guitar YouTubers. I was being a wee bit, I've been tongue in cheek though, and slagging off myself, so it should be all right. So thanks again. I'm on for doing this an hour every Sunday, and I'll just let it run on until I basically, when the room starts spinning, when I've drank just too much Bucky, or anything like that. I will check out X Gong though. And cheers, Chase and Shirley. Gilly Smith. The girl, is that the girl in Gong? Yeah, but what happened was at the Renfrew Ferry, not what it is now, it's been its old location. We went up for a walk around the outside, on the top bit where the restaurant is, and there was a bit on a window. And my pal wrote his finger in the condensation. It wasn't Gong Sucks, it was much funnier than that. I think it was Gong Our Pants or something like that, and we didn't know about that. And then we went for a walk round and then came back down, we were standing in the car, and my pals were like, look up there. I just looked up and it was just Gong Our Pants written in the condensation of the window in about 6-foot letters. Ridiculous. Keep the tree appearing and disappearing in the beginning and end of your videos. Yes, I did that for a laugh, but I quite enjoyed doing it. What really happened, I think my pal Andrew was on, I was talking to him saying I'm going out to try and do this video, which I failed. We'll put it up during the week anyway. I think about, he said I should do the Monty Python thing, and I was like, you're right, I'm going to do the Monty Python thing. And then I went out and did it, and when I came back, he'd already sent a message, and he sent me the How Not to Be Seen video. And I was like, bastard, that's what I did. So I will be doing more of that. The other people stream as well. Rocking. Excellent. Thanks very much. Love you all. Stuff coming up this week. Give me a shout if you want one of these t-shirts for cheap. And if you're interested in a trading, I'm looking for something for this 25 sound Stratocaster or this sakai thing, or a multitude of other things, really. Rock on! Catch you later, and I'll try and hit this button so it ends. Now, do you really want to take the stream? I do! Woohoo!